Yo, Rich, what's good?
What up? Goody.
I'm happy we found some time for me to pull up on you.
Yes.
You ready?
Overdue. Let's do it.
Come on. Rich P, what's the vibes, bro?
What's going on? I'm good, man. Happy to be here.
How's your day been? How's your mental?
I'm good. I'm in a good space. Feeling real strong about my year. Long journey. It's been quite a year, but still standing. Happy to be here and just be able to keep creating, keep putting forth my my talents to the world and being able to share it with people.
So the name Rich P, where did you get that from?
Well, my middle name is Richard, last name Perkins, so it's just a play on my middle and last name, Rich P.
Copy.
So put that together. I thought instead of just having a made up name, I would like it to derive from at least who I am. So
Right.
yeah.
So where you from?
New York, 134th, 8th Avenue, you know. It's the block, Shady 80. But yeah, man, I was born in Queens, but raised in Harlem.
Growing up in Harlem, how was that?
Being from a place everybody wanted to be or visit was cool. You could randomly see like any of your idols or people you idolized growing up, celebrities and rappers, singers. They would pass through Harlem on a consistent basis. Like Eve used to get her nails done on my block.
Fire.
DMX would be standing out there randomly. I done seen Puff on my block, Mace. I used to run the Black Rob like all the time. He actually wanted to take me on tour because when I was like a little kid, I rapped for him and he was like, yo, meet me out here tomorrow and I'm gonna take you on the road. And my mother was like, nah, that's not happening. Who knows what could have been.
Right.
But it was beautiful, but you know, it was also wow. You know what I'm saying? Like the 90s and, you know, the early 2000s, Harlem was a completely different place than what it is now. It was not gentrified. It was really hood, like abandoned buildings everywhere. Like it's almost kind of wild when that was your norm growing up. You know, you be thinking this is just how life is, but not knowing like you really growing up in poverty. So it's kind of wild.
It's funny that you said that abandoned buildings because I remember on Mace's album, Harlem World, and he on a skit with the girl, and he like, yeah, this Mace. I'm from Harlem where all the abandoned buildings are. That's mad funny.
Facts. That's great.
And like you said, just seeing people like him. I remember coming out the building and seeing Big L, God bless his soul. You know what I'm saying? Big L. Bunch of people. I played for Team Rock as a kid.
Crazy.
So seeing Dame Dash, Jay-Z coming to the hood, you get what I'm saying? Like you just felt like it was just a good place to be from. Like I always tell people, I would never want to be from nowhere else.
Oh God.
For real.
Oh God.
I went to college and once you tell them where you from, you got a state, you got a town, you tell them where you from. That's it.
All the
you from Harlem, that's it.
First question, you know what Dipset?
Dipset is number one. Number one.
I used to lie, like, you didn't even know I see the very I used to go visit my mans up in Buff State. And when I tell them I knew, like, I see Dipset, I see kids, you know, they be losing their mind.
Yeah, they go crazy. I don't know. It's just a thing. And like I say, I wouldn't want to be from nowhere else.
They know the culture, man. They
For
know
sure.
what Harlem is to the world.
Yes. Yes. What's your favorite thing about Harlem?
The history. Just knowing who's been there, how many people navigated there, even if they didn't live there, but they knew they had to visit. And knowing that it's the Black Mecca, like no matter what you say, the amount of culture that Harlem has for Black people is like, it's extremely rich. Like this is where like Muhammad Ali would sleep before his fights.
Right.
Malcolm X got a mosque here, you know?
Right.
Still to this day, Martin Luther King has been here, like, and then just, you know, as a musician, all of the, like the Kumo D's is from here, Big L, Mace, Cam, Joel's, Tiana. We got so many amazing people that come from Harlem.
For sure.
And then when you look at those people, like what they represent and bring to just like what they brought to the forefront of culture and creativity, it's an honor.
Mm-hmm.
It's an honor to call that place home, for real.
For sure. At what age did you get into music?
Man, like 6, so I was like a kid. Remember, me and my friends used to write rhymes in the park, and we would just grab the paper, the notepad, and we just write our rhymes and then yell them out at each other. And I remember when I was getting a haircut one day, my barber had a studio, and my mom was like, "Yeah, you know my son rap." His name is KB, and then he took me to the studio for the first time in my life, and I remember I recorded my first song, and I didn't even know what that process was like. So it was dope, you know. Having people help you on your journey is like, you almost forget how many people navigated you. Because like, I almost forgot about that. Like my barber being the first person to take me to the studio, and thinking about that right now is like really crazy, because he ain't have to do that. And who knows where I would have been if he didn't do that for me, because he really showed me how to make a song. And I remember when I recorded, he put it on like a tape, like a cassette tape. I remember putting that in my radio, and I just rewinded that song. I got a song. Yeah, but I've been doing this forever.
So would you consider yourself like underrated?
Absolutely. I've put in a lot of work, and even though I do get so much support and love, I feel like there's a lot of people who know the styles and trends that I've actually brought to music, especially like New York hip hop, and on the underground scene and on a semi forefront musically and creative wise. And a lot of people will tell me in person, but they won't tell me that or tell the world that publicly. They'll be like, "Yo, you know, I started doing this because of you," or, "You know, you was the first person doing this style of music or rapping like this." I'll always get that in person. When you inspire people, most people in life will never flat out tell the world where their inspiration came from. They're going to always act like it was, you know, them who did it. And it's cool. You know, I feel like the more you work, the more just do you get. You just have to get to a certain point before people actually give you your credit.
How do you feel about that? Because I think where we come from, I think the support is at a minimum, and it don't have to be. I think when we start like our craft, we don't get as much support. But if we put some fly shit on and take a picture and put it on Instagram, it goes crazy. Everybody's in your DM and things like that. But if you posting something positive that you're doing, you don't get as much likes and support and shares and things like that. So how do you feel about that?
It used to bother me, but one thing I've learned about people as I've been on this journey called life is like, you know, I want to see you do good, just not better than me. When we get that out of our brains, we are going to progress so much. But it's the same old song, and we've been preaching it for decades, you know. But people just have this thing in their mind of like, I'll support everything you do except your passion, or accept the thing that can take you to a level where we will never like be able to reach you again. Like, people will genuinely support everything but your goal,
right,
and your passion. There is a level of like jealousy, animosity, and fear. Some people are really scared of what you possess. And the only reason why they won't support is because they know where it can take you, and they know what you're capable of.
Right.
So I got a clothing line, you know, I have people who only will support or share that because they know that that's something I like to do on the side, as just to explore my creativity. But when it comes to music, they'll skip past that. They'll tell you, like, when they see you, like, "Yo, so you dropped a new project," or blah, but they're not gonna like that. But if I post something funny in my story, they'll reply to that every day.
Every day.
But they're so programmed to not support your dream. But it's a level of fear. They don't want to see you. They don't want to be the reason or for part of that reason that you make it. But I just realized that's just how most people are. It's a very sick way of thinking. And I think we have to somehow, some way get everybody's mind out of this mentality of there's only enough for a certain amount of people.
It's enough to go around. Very true. Very true. So with that being said, where does your fan base come from?
Everywhere. It's crazy because being from Harlem, I've watched a lot of artists like Rise, and I don't feel like I get like my flowers from like Harlem as its totality. I feel like a lot of people from Harlem wait to see, for having just waiting to see the other people show me love. And it's like, and some of them even be confused. I see like, they'll be trying to figure out like how I've gotten so big as an artist. And I'm like, yeah, just because y'all not getting behind me or rallying behind me, the internet is my friend now. I can get all these fans everywhere.
Right.
When I check my statistics, like it'll be hundreds of thousands of streams from Brooklyn, from Queens, and Miami, Chicago, LA, and Atlanta. And I'm cool with that. It don't gotta be the town.
Right.
It's just people. I just want people to hear me and like what I'm doing. And of course you want that hometown love, but I get a lot of love in New York. You don't have to. I do get love in Harlem too. It takes time. Like I've been seeing people warm up, like, yo, you doing your thing now. When I walk through, I'm like, yo, I'm loving your music. And but it comes from all over. And honestly speaking, I'm 100% fine with that. I don't care where my fans come from.
Right.
Y'all like me, y'all rock with me, y'all enjoy my music, I'm rocking with you, and you're gonna get my undivided attention. And I'm gonna always, while I have the time, speak to my supporters and my fans. And that's why my fan base is blown to where it's been, because I talk to them. I engage with my fans.
Would you think that you made like an impact in Harlem?
Yes. I think I'm beginning to it. It's taken a while, but Harlem has always been known for being flashy and style and just us being who we are. I was always ahead of my time with my style and like fashion. So even when Harlem was at its peak of like Mermonts and bass solos and ACGs, like I was wearing P Codes, Beat, Fred Perry, Billionaire Boys Club, even like when we had the antique denim and paper denim wave and all this, I was wearing it before a lot of the people there. I was wearing like 2004 and 5. Then I was seeing it pick up. I'm a young kid, like, cause my moms had told me like, yo, this is fly. And I'm like, okay. And then I had met this Asian kid, Jigme, and he took me to Soho for the first time. And when I went down there, he took me to this spot called DQM. And I first got my first pair like SB Dunks. I just remember when I was at Cop the De La Souls, I went to school and like people was like, yo, like, where did you get those? And I'm like, oh, he took me where all the heat is at. People really don't know where you get this stuff. So I was coming uptown and people be like, yo, what are you wearing, bro? And I remember I used to get called all types of names, freaky. Hey, yo, freaky. Not true, like, whatever. But I remember like 5 years later, all those same people, yo, bro, I had more live.
They understood it.
You really was wilding. Like, you was ahead of your time, because where you begin all that stuff from? Like, it took y'all this long to jack the wave. Like, but I'm just glad I had the confidence to never let no one dictate how I feel. I don't care what nobody thinks.
Right.
I never did it. So I think that's one of my greatest strong points.
How do you feel about networking? How important is that to you?
Super important. That's the key. Your net worth is your network. So even though I'm introverted, you gotta really muster up the energy to talk to people. And if you don't, I don't care how secluded you are, I tell people like, hey, you ain't gonna make it nowhere. Like, say less. Like, you want to be all secluded and isolated, like, you ain't gonna make no impact in this room you in. You got to walk up to people and talk to them and not be afraid to tell them about yourself, because we all need something from somebody. And, I will say this, the goal is not to look like you need anything. So that's why presentation is so important. Look the part, always look your best, come in your best whenever you're around and you're stepping out. Is really important, because when you look like you don't need anything from someone, that's when they're willing to help you more. But when you not in your flyers, when you come off like, yo, I'm hurting, people gonna look at you like you're in survival mode.
Because it's a thing. People help people that help themselves.
And I've seen that, like, when I come to the spot, I got all my jewelry on and everything, and some dudes will come up to me like, yo, what's good, fam? And I'm like, I even have to say that to you. Like, you want to know who I am now. Even not like with the jewelry and stuff, just coming in with that confidence and being presentable, you're gonna make it easy for people to want to know who you are. And then it's up to you to just talk what you talk your talk, and don't be afraid to brag about what you do, because we're conditioned to be humble, and I just don't believe in that. Like, we shrink ourselves so much, and it's usually because of the people we around. We sound like we're bragging to people who don't really work hard or who don't have dreams. But when you're around people who work hard and dream big, when you winning and you talk about your wins, it don't sound like bragging to them. To them, it's like, that's what I'm talking about. Or see, when you're around people who need you to shrink yourself so they can feel better about themselves, when you talk about the things you're doing, they go and they fall, they start scrolling. Oh, how, what you said? Okay, you mad passionate about what you're talking about. But these people don't want to see you at your best, because it's going to constantly remind them of what they're not doing. And that's where it gets scary. And that's why having the right people around you is extremely important. Because when you network and you win and you do meet people that can help you, you're going to feel good talking about those things. So yeah, networking is everything for sure.
I got a friend, and he always say, it's so cliche because we hear this a lot, especially now. He always be like, he used to tell me this years ago, like, you have to change the people around you because you're becoming the smartest person. You get what I'm saying? So now you have to change the people around you, because you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. What else are you going to learn?
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? So it gets to that point, and you start learning the people, you start networking. I'm an introvert, bro. I do not like to talk.
Same.
And it was one point in my life where I was scared to talk. You know what I'm saying? My mom used to just always push me like, bro, you can't be like that.
Yeah, God.
There's no way you're going to get anything if you're quiet.
Facts. And you just going to be a fly in the wall. And you gotta really, like, I used to have to pep talk myself like some days, like, yo, you gotta talk when you get in there.
Nah,
you gotta go up to the person and get your moment.
For real.
And I started doing that in the past couple years, and I've gotten so much out of it. Like, I've been in rooms with celebrities where I just let them walk by, where they looked at me, I looked at them, and they just kept moving. And I'm like, bro.
And I think even that be scary. Another thing, that's like, from being an introvert and coming from where we come from, it's like, if you approach a celebrity, it's like you're sweating them.
Yeah.
We can't do that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's like, what? You spoke to such and such? You was sweating them, bro. You wasn't supposed to do that. And it's like, bro, I missed my moment because I'm thinking of
overthinking.
You get what I'm saying?
And one thing we have to learn in life is that I tell all my friends this, and anybody I come across, because I can tell most people I come across care what other people think. I don't. So people always ask me, yo, bro, how you be doing this? How you doing? I'm like, yo, I do not care what none of y'all think of me. Like, it's what hard. I wear,
it's hard.
I don't think about, damn, niggas might cut me or like joke on me if I wear this, or I do not care. When I speak my mind, when I speak to people, when I get mind over with someone, I do not care what none of y'all say. And I need y'all to understand that. I'm like, when you start caring what people think is when you finally start living. And I tell people that you haven't lived yet until you are the unapologetic version of yourself. When you're the unapologetic version of yourself, that's when your life begins, because until that, you're living for everyone else. And I tell everybody, ain't no bunk beds and caskets. When you go, you go. So live for you. Because you still are who you are, even if you've never expressed it or lived it out. So even if you liked like anime, but you never watched it because you felt like your brothers in your house might joke on you, or you might be like a fan of like Harry Potter and you like everyone but you in the trenches. And when you die, you was still a diehard Harry Potter fan, you just ain't get to live it out.
Right.
When you go, you were still an anime junkie, and you never got to live out your little Comic-Con fantasies with all. You was still that, but you went your whole life without living it. And that's why, for me, it's like, what I do and what I love to do, I'm going to do it because, you don't get a do-over.
You do not.
You have to go do what you want to do now and not care. Like, I remember doing a show, and I remember I was telling them, this is a couple years, like 6 years ago, I think now. I had this show, and I like packed it out in Queens, and we was like jam-packed to the wall. And I'm talking, I did a little interlude just telling them my story. And I'm like, yo, this was a rough year. I lost my job, da-da-da. And my best friend was in the crowd. And he's like, facts, because he got fired too. And he was like, I'm like, we was going through it. And like, later that year, I got like I dropped a record that ended up popping off, transitioning me from like where I was to like where I am now. This song like changed everything for me. And then like Huffington Post called me and was like, we want you on our show. And like all these opportunities started coming, but I'm telling them like, but then everybody in the crowd just started clapping. And when I got on stage, all these other rappers like the opening acts were like, yo, bro, like, how can you just go up there and be saying that? I'm like, you scared to tell people what you do? That's why. I wasn't scared to tell people I had a job and I lost it, bro. That's why y'all feel me.
Right.
I'm like, you know, everybody in here work. That's how they were paid to get in here. I'm like, y'all be too scared. Y'all always trying to look like y'all on before you get on. That when we get on, we want to tell everybody how poor we was. Tell people how poor you are now.
Right.
Tell them you have a story, but y'all scared to tell it.
That's like entrepreneurship, right? I had a conversation with my little sister the other day, and she was talking about one of her friends that's an entrepreneur, but had to go back to work. She like, that gotta be the most embarrassing thing. I said, bro, this shit is life.
That's life.
It's not embarrassing, bro. You gotta go back and get that bread. You gotta get that bread. You get what I'm saying? So people be scared of that. Like, you know, you popping on a gram and things like that. Now you go to work and everybody looking at you like a celebrity, but you're a broke one. You get what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I'm here with y'all. I'm trying to get it.
We all fall. And it's like, being poor shouldn't be cool when you rich. It's like, when you rich, it's cool to tell people how broke you was. Like, yo, I got it out the mud. I ain't have none, a dollar to my name. You could say that while you ain't got the dollar to your name. Yo, I'm going through it right now.
That's a fact.
I ain't got it. Like, on one of my songs, I said that I got more money going out than I got coming in because I invest in myself.
Right.
And I remember when I said that at one of my shows, the dude posted that lyric in his story and like was like, yo, I'm just like, in real time, he's like, yo, y'all hear what he's saying? And I'm like, y'all can't be scared to say these things, man.
Right.
Y'all got to tell people, like, when you want to come up, you be losing. Like, you are taking L's because you're investing. In the beginning stages of things, you are investing. So you're always going to be in the red until it pop. We are in life-changing businesses.
Very true.
Like, this podcast is a life-changing business.
Right.
Music is a life-changing business. So the amount of money that I'm putting in to my career puts me in the red every time.
Yeah.
So like, I'm doing this to get in the black. I'm going to consistently do that because this is not something you can play with.
At all.
You gotta have to invest. So the people that can change your life will say, nah, they going hard.
That's a fact.
And people are so scared to just admit that they are struggling. Like, there's more people doing bad on earth than there is doing good. That's why they be calling it the 1%. Yeah, because like 99% of us ain't got it.
It's true.
So it's hard. Like, but we only think it's cool to talk about it after we make it. And I don't like that.
So who would you consider a role model that provoked this whole energy? Like, just like, you know, the confidence and just coming out your shell and things like that.
For me growing up, it was definitely Kanye. I can't ever deny that. You know, we have this idea when you're from the hood that all of us are just like killers, robbers, and still some of us really from the hood and like, we ain't out robbing nobody. We just broke, bro. Like, we poor and we got dreams and we want to be something and we chose to like indulge in our passions. And of course, like, we all get caught up as youngins. Like, we fight, we steal, we do dumb things and try hustling, which I've done all of those. I've tried trapping, I've tried everything under the sun, but I also always knew that I needed to do music because everybody that was older than me in my neighborhood told me, yo, stick to it, shorty. You the one, you gonna make this block proud. Like, you got something. And people have always like nurtured me to stay on that course. I just needed help.
Correct.
You know, and not getting the help didn't stop me. So, but like when someone like Kanye came out, I was like, yo, I see somebody I identify with for the first time in hip hop. Like, I idolized 50 Cent when he came out. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I was 50 Cent, get rich or die trying out, running that into the ground. But I'd be lying if I said, like, yeah, like, that make me want to go out, throw a vest on and boom something. Like, nah, that's not me. But when I heard the College Dropout, and I'm like, yo, for the first time, there's somebody that, like, I identify with 100%. And the confidence that Kanye had to never stop, even after every door closing on him, was like there's no way anybody on earth is going to tell me that I can't do the same thing.
Did you have the opportunity to meet him?
Yeah. I met him a few times. The first time I really met him was backstage at a Big Sean show. It was very brief, but I was just like, yo, like, wow, like, Kanye is here. And we took like a selfie and he dipped. But the real time was through Tiana. She had her first sold out show at SOB's. And I asked her, I was like, yo, T, like, can I open up the show? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, word? I'm like, oh, all right, like that. And she was like, yo, you can perform as long as you want. I'm like, word? All right. So I remember I just was rocking because she's like, yo, I'm going to be doing my hair and makeup, so just rock out. So I'm just performing, going crazy. I'm turned. And then she was like, all right, I'm ready. So she was like, yo, when I come up, like, come up with me because I want you in the front of the stage because I want you to let me know how I did. I'm like, all right, bet. So before we about to go up, one of my friends had on the show, like, yo, yeah, man, it's behind you. Yeah, who? He's like, you gonna lose it, bro. He whispered this in my ear. And it's yay. I'm like, oh. And we in this cramped hallway. This is us. And I'm like, nah. He's like, so I'm like, oh. And then I'm like, yo, I'll open up the show. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, yo. I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, and you know, I was just talking to him for a second. And I was like, this got to be like the illest night like ever.
Nah, that's fire. To meet your idol, that's dead fire. That's super fire. So before we wrap up, just to like tap in more with you or just a little bit more, what's something that's like impactful that nobody knows about you?
So one thing I am is a giver. One of the most proud things that I've ever done in my life was help the Hurricane Katrina victims. And it was years after Katrina, but people don't know how affected people were after Katrina. And years later, still having nothing. I went to a really small high school called Humanities Prep. So it only consisted of like 200 students. And we didn't have a budget for like a senior trip. I was like, what if I do a concert? Like, could I raise money to like do something? They like, yeah. There's like, I can probably get a nonprofit to help us, but we'd have to make the trip like meaningful. I'm like, whatever. It was like, what if we go to New Orleans? I'm like, all right. So I threw a concert, packed the auditorium out, and a nonprofit like triple what we earned. So they put all the seniors, we flew out to New Orleans. We stayed out there for a week. And like half the day we would be like enjoying ourselves at the French Quarter, eating, traveling, exploring the city. And the other half of the day we was like rebuilding homes.
Fire.
That's like the proudest thing that I've done because I've met so many families from like those victims of Katrina and to help them. And see how grateful they was that we were like kids out there working on their homes, rebuilding them, painting their houses and doing all this stuff, like just in 100 degrees weather, 80-degree weather. It's probably one of the most fulfilling things that I've ever done in my life. And a lot, like, people don't know that. People don't know that about me. And I'm happy to say that I was able to like do something of that magnitude. That's fine. And not on camera. Right. Just doing it. And my friends and best friends from high school all came. Like, it was dope. It was dope. But I'm a giver. Those are the type of things that I enjoy doing. Like, I want to be able to change people's lives in any way possible. So the bigger I get, the more I'm just going to do for people, because we have to start looking at each other as family, even when we're not blood.
Right.
But when we start looking at each other as family, the dynamic of Black people will change, because we will think twice about harming each other, taking from each other, or just being so guarded with each other. So that's something that I want to like change as we progress. It ain't something that's easy.
Right.
I think we can definitely make some headway as long as we start viewing each other as family.
So 2 more questions. Would you consider music your NOBO?
I want to say yes and no, because I never want to stop creating, because that's when I'm my happiest, is when I'm making music. And I think hip hop is, in our 50th year of hip hop, we're also seeing that you don't have to stop. Like when I was a kid, they were like, "You 30, music is over." Like rap, hang it up.
When we was young, 30 was mad old.
Yeah. Now, like Jay-Z put his last album out at 48, you know? And we're getting projects from legends now. Like Nas is 50, and Nas just put out like 2 projects this year and 6 in the past 3 years. So to see him selling out Madison Square Garden by himself and putting out projects this deep into his career shows that, you know, you can't put an age on music. It's a gift.
Right.
So as long as you're able to create and stay sharp, I think it's something you should never stop doing. So it's definitely something I want to always do, but I also want to create and do other things. I want to design. I want to change the way fashion's viewed and seen, and how it's worn. And I also, you know, I also want a family. So I want to have a family as well. So those are things that weigh on my mind, like heavily.
Is there any new projects that you have coming out that you would like to announce?
I don't have a name for my next album, but it is in the works. I'm feeling real good about it. Really, really excited for my next project. I want to get it out by the end of this year. You know, we in the 4th quarter, but I have to turn the jets on a little bit. But I wrote the album already, so all I got to do now is just go in the booth and record it. So I want to do like a block out for like 2-3 weeks, block in, get it out. And I know this project is going to be the one that changes everything for me. So this one I'm still working on, because I got the record with Styles P out that's doing really, really well. I got to get the video done with Styles. That's like my main agenda. So I'm hunting the ghost down right now because he's a very busy guy, but he said he wants to do the video. So I'm on him every time. I say, yo, I got to get that video done. So, but once I get that video shot and out, and I feel like that's going to catapult the album that's out now, What Does Love Get You? And that record we had 200,000 streams. So the record is doing really, really good. So I can't thank Styles P enough for blessing my project. And after that, we're going to jump into this next project, and it's going to be huge. Like, people are going to see that there's just no stopping what God has for me.
And let's not forget the last project.
Number 12 in the country.
12 in the country.
Well, iTunes.
Congratulations on that, for sure. I think that's very major. I definitely appreciate you. That's fire. I appreciate you allowing me to pull up on you. And I think this conversation was necessary. I've seen you for a lot of years.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And we never even spoke, greeted each other or nothing. So the first time I was really speaking is on the show. So I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
More success to you on your career. And like I said, congratulations on that whole thing with your project. And Styles P, that's the GOAT.
Absolute GOAT. Somebody I grew up used to see in Harlem. I met him in the YMCA when I was a little kid, and knowing that I have a whole record with him.
Fire. It's definitely something to talk about. That's definitely something to talk about.
Thank God for hip hop.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll chat more. So thank you.